One day I was talking to one of my friends, and he asked me, "Jim, how do you stay motivated?" And I said, "Well, that's the wrong question." He looked at me kind of confused. I said, "The question isn't how to stay motivated. The question is how to become the kind of person that doesn't need motivation anymore because it's just who you are." That's what I want to talk to you about today. Working on yourself until it becomes your identity. Until the improvement isn't something you do anymore, it's something you are. Here's what most people get wrong. They think personal development is like going to the gym. You go, you work out, you feel good, and then you leave. But that's not how real transformation works. When I was just starting out, working at Sears, I was broke. I was really broke. And I remember thinking, this can't be it. This can't be all there is for me. But at that time, I wasn't doing anything different from anyone else. I was hoping things would change. And nothing changed. Then I met Mr. Schoaf. Mr. Schoaf was a millionaire, a real millionaire. He had built something. And he looked at me one day and he said something I'll never forget. He said, "Jim, if you want to be wealthy, you don't need to do anything different. You just need to become a different person. Become the kind of person that wealth naturally flows to." Jot this down. Become a different person. At first, I thought he meant I should get a better job or learn a better skill. But that's not what he meant at all. He meant that I needed to work on myself. My thinking, my habits, my disciplines, everything about who I was on the inside had to change before my outside circumstances could change. Because here's the thing, nobody tells you about personal development. It's not about the results first. It's about the identity first. You don't read books to get smarter so you can make more money. You read books, and in that process, you become a reader. You become a student. You become someone who values learning, and then the results follow. Most people have it backwards. They want the results without becoming the person. They want the money without becoming wealthy in their thinking. They want the health without becoming healthy in their habits. But you can't have the fruit without growing the tree. Think about a tree for a minute. If you cut down a healthy oak tree, you can't just put the acorns back and expect to have an oak tree again. The tree has to grow. It has to develop roots. It has to weather the seasons. It has to stretch and reach for the sun year after year. And it's only after all that work, after all that time, that you finally get acorns. Your life is the same way. You can't shortcut it. You can't buy your way past it. You can't wish your way past it. You have to become it. Here's the key. Personal development isn't a destination. It's an identity. It's not something you do for 6 months or a year. It's something you become. It's something that becomes so much a part of you that not doing it would feel weird. When I really committed to personal development, when I decided to work on myself until it became my identity, everything changed. But not right away. That's the part people don't like hearing. I started reading a lot. I was reading books I didn't understand. I was going to seminars where I thought I was losing my mind. I was having conversations with people who made me feel small because they knew so much. But I kept going because I wasn't doing it for the immediate results. I was doing it to become somebody different. And here's what happened. Slowly, I started to think differently. When a problem came up, instead of panicking, I would think, this is an opportunity to learn something. When I failed at something, instead of quitting, I would ask, what can I learn from this? My whole perspective changed. My identity changed. And my results changed right along with it. You know, I remember being at a small seminar years ago, and there was this little girl, she couldn't have been more than 8 years old, sitting with her mother. And I asked her, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she said, I want to be smart. Not, I want to be a doctor or I want to be a teacher. She wanted to be smart. And I thought, that's it. That's the whole thing right there. If you become smart, the opportunities will come. If you become disciplined, the success will follow. Now, here's what I want you to understand. This isn't about being perfect. This isn't about never making mistakes. I'm talking about working on yourself as a way of life. So when you mess up, and you will mess up, you don't abandon the whole thing. You just get back to it because it's who you are. Jot this down. The difference between a person who learns and a person who doesn't learn is the difference between a person who wins and a person who loses. In relationships, in health, in peace of mind, in every single area of life. Here's what most people don't realize about the compound effect. You know what compound interest is, right? But compound effect works for everything. For knowledge, for habits, for character. If you commit to personal development and you work on yourself just a little bit every day, reading for 20 minutes, thinking about your dreams, having good conversations, it doesn't seem like much at first. But here's the magic. After a year, you're not the same person. After 5 years, you're unrecognizable. After 10 years, you've become someone entirely new. And once you reach that point, once it becomes your identity, you can't go backward. You can't unknow what you know. Some of you might be thinking, Jim, that sounds great, but I don't have time for all that. I'm busy. And I get it. But here's what I learned. You don't find the time. You make the time. You make time to eat because you know you'll die if you don't. You make time to sleep because you know you'll fall apart if you don't. So when you say, I don't have time for personal development, what you're really saying is, it's not important enough to me yet. How long are you planning to stay the way you are? How long are you planning to accept your current circumstances as permanent? You have the dignity of choice. You can choose to change. You can choose to work on yourself. Let me tell you about a friend of mine. He was a good guy, hardworking, but he wasn't going anywhere. He was stuck in the same place with the same income year after year. And I said to him, why don't you read some books? Why don't you work on yourself? And he said, I don't have time for all that. So I said, how long have you been making the same amount of money? 15 years, he said. I said, and how much time have you spent in those 15 years trying to change that? He didn't answer. He knew the answer. 0. Then I said, what if you spent just 30 minutes a day reading or learning something new? How much time would that be in a year? He did the math. 182 and a half hours. I said, if you spent that time wisely, do you think your life could change in a year? He looked at me and something clicked. He got it. He started reading. He started going to seminars. He started working on himself. And you know what? It wasn't magic. After 1 month, nothing had changed. But after a year, he had changed. His thinking had changed. His discipline had changed. And his life started changing right after that. This is so important. Jot this down. Your life will not change until you change. Not until your circumstances change. Not until the economy gets better. Your life changes when you change. Here's what I want you to do. Start with reading. Not because reading is magic, but reading does something incredible. When you read a good book, you're getting access to someone's lifetime of knowledge. You're standing on the shoulders of giants. Start reading 30 minutes a day. That's it. 30 minutes. Over the course of a year, that's tremendous growth. And that's just reading. There's also listening. You can listen to audiobooks. You can listen to podcasts. You can turn your car into a university. But here's the thing about learning. It's not just about the information. It's about your identity as a learner. When you decide to read, you're deciding, I'm a reader. I'm a student. I'm someone who values learning. And when that becomes your identity, everything changes. Personal development is also about your habits. Because here's the key. Your life is not determined by your goals. Your life is determined by your habits. You could have the most beautiful goal in the world, but if your daily habits don't support that goal, you're not going to reach it. So if you want to be healthy, your daily habit needs to be exercise and good eating. Daily. If you want to be wealthy, your daily habit needs to be learning about money, thinking about opportunity. Daily. If you want to have great relationships, your daily habit needs to be showing up for people, being present, being kind, daily. Jot this down. You will not reach your goals by accident. You will reach your goals by design. And the design is your daily habits. Success is the result of thousands of tiny decisions, thousands of small habits stacked on top of each other over months and years. When I was broke, I would see wealthy people and think they're just lucky. But then I started studying successful people, and I realized something. They weren't luckier than me. They were just more disciplined than me. Here's what I want you to understand. You don't need a better life. You need to become a better person. Because if you become a better person, a better life will follow. It's automatic. It's like gravity. When you become the right kind of person, the right kind of life is drawn to you. If you won the lottery tomorrow and got $10 million, how long would you have it? If you're not good with money, you'd go through it in a few years. It's not about the money. It's about who you are. Wealthy people think differently about money. And it's not because they have more money. It's the other way around. They have more money because they think differently. You want better relationships? You have to become a better person first. You want better health? You have to become someone who values their health. You want success? You have to become someone committed to growth and discipline. Now here's the key. Becoming a different person is not comfortable. It's not easy. You're going to have to leave behind some things, some habits, some friends maybe, some ways of thinking. I had to leave behind the idea that I could get rich quick. I had to leave behind the blame. As long as I was blaming something else, I had no power. But when I took responsibility, that's when my power came back. I had to leave behind my peer group. Not all of them, but some of them. Some people didn't want to see me grow because it threatened them. And I had to make a choice. Stay small to make other people comfortable, or grow and become who I was meant to be. Here's the key. You cannot become who you're meant to be and stay surrounded by people who want you to stay who you are. You need people in your life who inspire you, people who are further along than you, people who have done what you want to do. Jot this down. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Is that a scientific fact? No. But is it true? Yes. Because the people you spend time with shape your thinking. They shape your standards. They shape what you think is possible. If all your friends are broke, you're going to think being broke is normal. But if you start spending time with people who read, who grow, who challenge themselves, who dream big, then that becomes your normal. When you start working on yourself, some people are going to think you're crazy. They're going to say, why are you wasting your time on all that? And the answer is simple. Because I'm worth it. Because my life is worth it. But here's what really happens. When you commit to working on yourself and you stick with it, something amazing happens. It becomes contagious. Your kids start noticing. They see you reading. They see you learning. Your spouse starts noticing. Your friends start noticing. You're influencing people around you without even trying. This is the ripple effect of personal development. It doesn't just change you, it changes everyone around you. I'll never forget something Mr. Schoaf told me. He said, Jim, don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. And I thought, what does that even mean? But then I understood. He wasn't saying life wouldn't be hard. He was saying that hard things become easier when you become better. A difficult conversation becomes easy if you're the kind of person who has good communication skills. A financial challenge becomes manageable if you're the kind of person who understands money. So don't wish for an easier life. Wish to become a better person. Work on yourself until that becomes your identity. The biggest obstacle to becoming a better person is yourself. It's your resistance to change. It's your comfort with how things are. Change is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. But you know what? It's also uncomfortable to fail. It's uncomfortable to be broke. It's uncomfortable to look back at your life and think, I could have done so much more. So you're going to be uncomfortable either way. You might as well be uncomfortable while you're becoming something great. Here's what I want you to understand. Small changes, done consistently, lead to massive results over time. 1 degree change in direction doesn't seem like much. But if you're flying an airplane and you change your course by 1 degree over 1,000 miles, you end up in a completely different location. Your life is the same way. Small improvements in your thinking, your habits, your reading, they don't seem like much at first, but over months and years, they compound. They transform you into someone completely different. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a young person, age 25. They decide to start reading 30 minutes a day. They decide to listen to podcasts. They decide to have better conversations. For the first month, nothing much changes. They're still in the same situation. But they're becoming different. Their thoughts are changing. Their perspective is expanding. After 1 year, they've read a bunch of books. They've listened to hundreds of hours of audio. They're starting to see possibilities they never saw before. After 5 years, they've been promoted. They've started a side business. They've got money saved. They've changed their friend group. They've got meaningful relationships. After 10 years, they're financially independent. They're healthy. They're happy. They have deep relationships. But here's the thing. None of that happened by accident. None of that happened because they were special or lucky. It happened because they made a decision, a simple decision, to work on themselves daily, consistently, for years and years. This is the power of becoming. This is the power of identity. Jot this down. Don't focus on becoming rich. Focus on becoming the kind of person that wealth flows to. Don't focus on becoming healthy. Focus on becoming the kind of person who lives a healthy life. Don't focus on becoming happy. Focus on becoming the kind of person who has joy woven into their daily life. The outcomes will follow. They always do. Now, I want to talk about something important. Dreams. You've got to have dreams. You've got to have something you're working toward. But here's the difference between wishing and becoming. A lot of people have dreams. They say, I wish I were wealthy. I wish I had a great family. I wish I had my own business. But they don't become the kind of person that achieves those dreams. They just wish. Here's the key. Wishing is passive. Becoming is active. Wishing is hoping something happens to you. Becoming is you consciously deciding to transform into the kind of person that makes those dreams inevitable. You don't wish your way to success. You become successful in your mind first, in your habits second, and then in your bank account third. You don't wish your way to great relationships. You become the kind of person worth being in relationship with. You become attentive. You become present. You become kind. You don't wish your way to good health. You become someone who cares about their body. You become consistent with exercise. You become disciplined with your diet. Here's what I learned from Mr. Schoaf. The person you become is far more important than the things you own. You can lose things. You can lose money. But you can never lose who you've become. You can never unknow what you've learned. So work on yourself. Every single day, read, learn, listen, think, have good conversations, challenge yourself, go a little beyond where you were yesterday. And do it not for the results. Do it because you're becoming the kind of person that results naturally flow to. On this journey of personal development, you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I failed a lot when I was learning. I read books I didn't understand. I went to seminars where I felt out of place. I tried things that didn't work. But here's the difference. I didn't see those failures as reasons to quit. I saw them as part of the process. I saw them as necessary steps on the journey to becoming someone different. Most people see failure and they quit. They say, this isn't for me. I'm not meant for this. But that's backwards thinking. Failure is just information. It's just the universe telling you, try a different approach. Jot this down. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a step on the path to success. Every successful person you know has failed more times than you've probably tried. They just didn't quit. They just kept going. Here's what I'm inviting you to do. I'm inviting you to become obsessed with becoming, not obsessed with the results, obsessed with who you're becoming. Let that obsession consume you. Let it drive you. Let it get you out of bed in the morning. Let it be the reason you pick up a book. Because here's the truth. Life is not about the destination. It's about who you become on the journey. I've been blessed in my life. I've made more money than I ever dreamed. I've had incredible success. I've met amazing people. I've traveled the world. But you know what the greatest gift has been? It's not the money. It's not the success. It's who I became in the process of pursuing those things. I became someone I'm proud of. I became someone with integrity. That's the real treasure. That's what all the reading and the seminars and the hard work was really about. It was about becoming, and here's the beautiful thing. It's never too late to start. It doesn't matter if you're 25 or 55 or 75. You can still decide to work on yourself. You can still decide to become something different. You have the dignity of choice. Nobody is going to force you to read. Nobody is going to force you to think. That's all you. That's your choice. And I'm not asking you to become someone else. I'm asking you to become more of yourself, to become the best version of yourself, to become the person you were meant to be all along. So here's what I want you to do. First, decide. Make a decision right now that you're going to work on yourself because you believe your life is worth it. Second, start small. Don't try to change everything at once. Start with one thing. Start reading. Third, commit to consistency. Do it every single day, even when you don't feel like it, because that's when the real growth happens. Fourth, get around people who inspire you. Find people who are further along than you. Find people who will challenge you and support you. Fifth, be patient with the process. This is a years-long journey, but trust that every book you read, every lesson you learn is shaping you into someone different. And finally, remember why you're doing this. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. It's about living a life you're proud of. It's about having the dignity of becoming who you were meant to be. Here's the key. Work on yourself until it's not something you do anymore. Work on yourself until it's something you are. That's when everything changes. That's when you've truly arrived. Not at a destination, but at an identity. You're a reader. You're a learner. You're a grower. That's who you are. And from that foundation, everything else builds.